kind of things. I mean, things from like when we all used to sleep around the library. I woke up one night smelling gasoline, hearing yelling, and someone ran by covered in gasoline, being chased by people with knives and cigarette lighters, because he apparently said something rude to somebody's girlfriend. The other night I heard a woman yelling for help, making noises like she was being strangled. So, the kind of person I am, I jumped behind whatever was there and, was like, what's going on here? And it turns out it was just someone, having a SMI episode. But I had to get to the bottom of it and find out, that was how it was raised, but it made me really angry because, I was pumped with adrenaline and I didn't know if I was going to have to fight or what, or, I'm a really peaceful person, and so when I finally get to that point, I'm like, so hyped with adrenaline that it's, just watch out. But instead I'm like mediating between a man and a woman who are, actually in a relationship. And I'm like, you can't be doing this, because I almost came over here and, stomped this guy into the ground for your sake, and if you yell for help, and then people fighting, we try to go to sleep. My dog has been stressed out. I've been stressed out because everywhere we go, people are constantly, it's like why I'm glad I'm single too, because it's almost always people in relationships on the street. And I watch it, and there's nothing I can do. That's, unless someone is physically in danger and they're, about to be stabbed, choked, shot, something like that. It's really, it doesn't sit right watching,
So you talked about people having an SMI episode, meaning seriously mentally ill episode.
Yes.
So what do you think? Let's say that somebody came onto the streets, and they were not SMI before they had to live out here. How do you think that just the fact of living out here will affect them?
Well, just speaking from personal experience, I battle with problems every day. I was out on the street when I was 14 from my father, who was in Vietnam, who would think I was a Viet Cong agent and that there were, soldiers in the walls and things, and, grew up being abused and had enough of that finally and took off. And the first night I'm out, I get robbed. Sure, everything I own gone. That's like kind of the story of my life over and over. So you get going. And, I've wanted to shave for a couple months now, but everywhere I try to go, either I can't take my dog, or there's not enough time to, get my stuff out, or there's no mirror. Little things like that. The fact that you have to go through this whole circuit to get food, to get resources. I'm just now, after years of struggling, finally getting some help by people who have watched me over and over volunteer work while I have nothing and stuff, and finally they're like, oh, well, you must really need it and you're a good person, so we're gonna help you. And I can see how people who really need stuff and they just can't get it, all these little things build up. You're dirty. I haven't showered in probably a month. I can't take my dog in most places. The place that I used to go to, Casa Maria, can't take my dog in there because it's in a food preparation building, and I don't have anyone to watch my dog. I don't trust her. Everyone wants my dog. They'll take her. If I have someone watch my dog, she'll be gone, and then I'm back to having seizures again because my dog is my security and my seizures have dropped since I've had it. So yeah, all these little things, you need this, you need that, and people fighting around you, and people, you know, go through cycles of addiction, and they're really, you know, a lot of my friends are really nice people when they're high, when they're drunk, when they got their thing, and then when it comes down, you can't be anywhere near them, because then the anger comes out, then the fights start, then, you know, so it's a struggle for me, and I have to avoid almost everyone every chance I get. The only time I go near other people is when I need to eat, or when I need to go someplace dry to sleep. Other than that, I stay away from everyone, because I don't want to absorb that. I don't want to have that anger in me. I'm battling so hard with my own anger issues. You know, and that's been a struggle, because I used to be the type that, yeah, I got high, I got drunk, I did everything I could to get rid of the pain in my life, and then it all came out, and I would end up, yeah, and waking up hungover in a wreck. And so, yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah. So, talking about your seizures, many of the people watching this are planning to become doctors or nurses or healthcare people. So, tell them a little bit about the health issues you're going through out here.
Well, I have pretty much 90% chance of having MS. I need to go back to doctors, but everyone I've been to says I have, you know, fit the bill. I have seizures that I don't know. I need to have someone actually look at me. I haven't really been to a doctor, because if I have a seizure or something, my first response isn't to crawl to the hospital. It's to go in a dark corner somewhere where there's nobody yelling, nobody doing anything, and no one gonna rob me, and just, you know, deal with it. And that's one of the big issues with being homeless, is your first, people are always like, well, you have all these problems, why haven't you been to the hospital? Because I have this giant backpack and a dog and my entire life, and I'm trying to build my life up, and every time I have to go through the system, it tears me back down. I lose stuff, I have to leave things behind. I can't take, you know, just to go in the library, I'm teaching myself programming. But to go to the third floor, I have to make sure that I have under a certain amount of stuff. I don't leave anything behind in camps ever. If I can't carry it with me, it's not mine. So there's all these things that, you know, how do you go to a doctor carrying everything you own after you've had a seizure so bad that you can barely walk? You know, you're gonna lie under a tree somewhere and watch the sky spin, and, you know, wait till you feel better, you know. So yeah, that's the biggest health issue, and wondering whether you actually have insurance or not, because you haven't been able to go to the, you know, office to actually talk to people. You try to do it online, but someone else helped you before and put your information on someone else's email and jacked it all up so that I can't deal with my own stuff online. And even though I'm a programmer, I have serious learning disabilities problems, especially after the seizures started. I lose track of things after a seizure 2 or 3 days sometimes. I look at, you know, a form or a document or something, and it's like pictures and little colors, and I see bright shapes and superimposed on everything. And so, yeah, dealing with your health out here, and that's been one of my big anger issues. I have to deal every day, because this stuff just sets me off sometimes, and I'll walk around and I'll just walk away from everyone and just let it out. And people look at me like, oh boy, that's a crazy person, don't go nowhere near him. And, you know, yeah,
So if you were like that, let's say you presented at a clinic or something, or at a hospital where these guys are likely to work. And let's say you were in that state where you had a seizure. You did get in, but you are obviously angry now. What can they do to help you when you come in? How should they treat you when you come in for help?
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess the biggest thing is just understanding where we're coming from, because I've showed up in medical facilities and I got treated like dirt, basically, because I probably smell bad, I'm angry, disoriented, confused. I need one of the med alert bracelets that say I have seizures sometimes, because half the time if I'm in a public place and I can't get to some place safe, I hit the ground, and then Tucson's purple shirt security guards think I'm having a dope sick SMI session, and they come kick me and tell me to move, and that's the biggest thing, is just understanding where we're coming from, that a lot of us are doing our best, trying as hard as we can, and it's just not good enough most of the time.
Is there any point of the day that you feel safe?
When I'm in the library, sitting down finally, that's my safe spot. My dog under the table asleep, the security guards all around, that most of them I'm friends with now, and like they've seen me every day. I used to carry my dog up the stairs when she was a baby, and she's pretty much grown up in there, and that's really my only safe spot. So I don't feel safe out on the street, in a park. I've had everything I own taken from me multiple times in this town. The first night I was in Tucson, I lost all the gear I had while I was asleep. I've felt safest since I've had my dog, because no one can walk up on me without waking her up. And so I actually sleep a lot, but when I can, between having an abscess over here, a broken tooth over here, sometimes before I have a seizure, I'll wake up one morning with a headache, which will get steadily worse all day until the colors and the patterns start, and everything is like Christmas tinsel decorated, and I know what's coming then. And then sometime in the night, it feels like I get hit in the head with a brick fired from a cannon, and I hit the ground. There's nothing I can do, and sometimes I'm conscious during the whole thing, but I can't stop it. And then sometimes I just wake up on the ground. I've woken up on the ground holding my dog, and people are like, yeah, you must really need some dope, man, you were shaking. And and I've been clean for of anything, alcohol, drugs, everything, 3 years now. I had a binge. I was clean for like 10 years before that, and then I had a binge when I was at Bravo Base at first, and I had a job. There was a guy who did carpentry work, and I would help him, but then I got fired because he doesn't like gay people. So I felt pretty depressed, and I ended up doing some heroin with a friend of mine, and on Christmas, missing my daughter and everything, it all piled up. And then after Christmas, I'm like, oop, that was stupid, and I walked away. I spent one night in Community Bridges and just walked away and never looked back. So it hurts that their first reaction when they see me is that I'm a drug addict who's suffering from lack of a fix. But there's nothing I can do. I can't afford the bracelet. I'm hoping that, I finally got someone to talk to me, an actual lawyer to talk to me about my SSI case, and which, yeah, I've been told was not my fault that it was canceled. My payee deliberately trashed my life, threw me out on the street.
So speaking of being
so
out
that
on the
might
streets,
be fixed, but I don't know. I'm still waiting. That was days ago. Do I know? No, I don't know anything. They say, yeah, we'll help you. But I've been told that same thing for years now. I've done the SPDAT thing for housing so many times, and they lose my thing, and I keep going and talking to Cliff, and they're like, oh yeah, I did that like a year ago. And I'm like, okay, so why is nothing? Well, you're really high on the list. Okay, so why is it? I'll get you a lawyer. Okay, so why? And that's always the thing. And I'm like, always getting up hope. Yeah, something will happen. I might get off the street. I might get my life back. I might get some kind of a job that I can do without, falling off a ladder trying to use a nail gun on a roof or something, or something stupid, programming. That's why I got into programming. I'm teaching myself because it's something I can do in a safe spot. And yeah, sorry.
No, sorry.
I try to deal with this every day, and I keep trying to quit smoking. That's the one thing, my one addiction, because that's legal and socially sort of acceptable, and without it, it's like, yeah, when you're out here you need something. I understand why people are like, you end up on the street because you're a drug addict, but it's the opposite. You end up on something so you can cope with what's out here, being treated inhumanely. And that's why I keep coming back to Z Mansion, because I walked in here and it was like this happy little garden party, and people smiled at me, and I was treated like a human, and I'm always treated like a human, and my dog is treated like a human, and that's so rare. That's what we need. We don't need half the crap they try to foist off on us. We need to be treated like people. And yeah, maybe you wouldn't have so many angry people on the street, because when you treat somebody like garbage long enough, that's what they believe they are. Just my opinion.
Thank you very much.